Top news as of November 28, 2025. Here is a summary of the top news across world, economy, finance, and technology. World news. Russia-Ukraine peace proposal dynamics. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine remains a central point in world diplomacy. Russian President Vladimir Putin has indicated that a draft peace plan, which was reportedly proposed by the U.S. and Ukraine, could serve as a potential basis for future agreements. However, he emphasized that for any deal to materialize, Ukraine would have to cede territory, a concession Kyiv and its European allies have firmly opposed. In a related development, the United States and Ukraine have announced an updated and refined peace framework following criticism of earlier drafts, which some European leaders at the G20 summit suggested were too favorable to Russia and undermined Ukrainian sovereignty. Meanwhile, France is moving to introduce voluntary military service for young adults, a move seen by many as a direct response to growing European concern over the threat posed by Russia. Geopolitical tensions and global security. In other geopolitical news, the focus on nuclear and missile development in the Korean Peninsula continues to heighten regional tensions. There are reports of increased surveillance and military readiness from South Korea and its allies in response to recent activities from North Korea, maintaining a posture of deterrence while diplomacy remains stalled. Hong Kong high-rise fire tragedy. The world has been watching the tragic news from Hong Kong, where one of the deadliest fires in decades engulfed a high-rise building. The death toll has tragically grown, and recovery efforts are still underway, prompting urgent reviews of fire safety standards in urban centers globally.
Economy and finance. Global monetary policy and interest rate speculation. Speculation regarding future monetary policy, particularly in the U.S., continues to drive market volatility. Although there are mixed signals, some analysts suggest that the Federal Reserve may be considering a rate cut in the near term, citing a sluggish job market and weakening consumer confidence. This possibility has led to fluctuations in stock markets. The potential for a rate cut is seen as a way to stimulate economic activity, but high inflation on key staples like Thanksgiving foods in the U.S. continues to put pressure on households. UK fiscal policy and tax hikes. In the United Kingdom, the Chancellor of the Exchequer has unveiled a new budget that includes significant tax rises to the tune of tens of billions of pounds. The move comes amid pressure on public finances and a political furor following an embarrassing leak of forecast data. The fiscal tightening aims to stabilize the national economy but is met with widespread public discontent. India's economic activity and FDI. In India, economic news is mixed. Recent data shows a slowdown in the activity of 8 core sectors, with October 2025 showing the worst performance in over a year. Furthermore, the country's net foreign direct investment, FDI, has been negative for the second consecutive month as outflows exceeded inflows. On a more positive note, some Indian-based companies are announcing significant investment and hiring plans, like Decathlon's pledge to hire 2,500 people and invest €100 million by 2030.
Technology. The AI bubble and investment risks. The conversation around artificial intelligence, AI, continues to dominate the technology sector, with Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates commenting on the current frenzy. Gates acknowledged that the massive investment pouring into AI resembles a bubble, but stressed that the technology is fundamentally different from historical speculative manias, due to its profound, foundational potential for economic and social value. His primary concerns are how companies will manage inevitable failures, massive energy strains, and the potential for workforce disruption. NVIDIA chip bypass and global chip wars. The geopolitical and technological race for advanced computing power is heating up. Reports suggest that Chinese tech giants may be finding innovative ways to bypass U.S. export bans on high-end NVIDIA AI chips. While the export restrictions target the chips used for training cutting-edge large language models, LLMs, Chinese companies are increasingly turning to locally made chips for inference, the part of the AI system that responds to user requests and accounts for a growing share of the overall AI workload. This highlights the ongoing tension and adaptation within the global semiconductor market. Apple and tech antitrust cases. Tech giants like Apple are facing increased scrutiny globally. The company is contesting an antitrust penalty in India that carries the risk of a significant fine, and a U.S. group is suing Apple over the alleged use of conflict minerals from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Meanwhile, Meta is contesting the EU's antitrust demands for data regarding Facebook, indicating that global regulators are ramping up their oversight of big tech.